Okay guys, so at this point you have finished your tissue paper. So what we're going to work on next is this colored pencil area. So you can see how these students from the past have addressed that in certain areas, like here under her arms, even blending in some of the areas where the tissue paper meets. They've used colored pencil for that too. Also within the body, like within the skirt, around the edges. This one here, this person used like some white colored pencil to kind of bring out, to make the body look separate from the background, but to kind of use that to blend into the background. And then with the arms there, around the arms. This person did a really beautiful job. It's not 100% easy to see on the Elmo, but you can look at the examples in real life too. It's really nice around the foot there. So what we're going to do now is we'll just pretend that mine's all done here. We're going to work on that Sharpie first. So we've got to bring back the Sharpie where the tissue paper is here. I've lost the Sharpie a bit, and I've started to bring it back here, but I'm going to get both of my new Sharpies. So I've got the big one and the smaller one, the pen one, and I'm going to go over these areas again. So I'll start with the pen one down here because I'm looking at that line and I'm seeing a thin line here. So I'm going to go over those shapes, and where I can't see, I want to try to remember what was going on there and bring it back. There are some areas that I can't see, so trying to think about what was there. Like I know there was a little bit of line weight here, just a thin line weight, so I used the thinner marker for that. I know here you can't really see it here, but there's still tissue paper over the Sharpie. So I'm going to use the thicker one because I remember and I can see that I used the thicker marker there. So I'm going to kind of bring that back in, that thicker line. And I want to go about that for the whole piece, including some of these smaller, more detailed areas. These are going to be a little bit more challenging to go over. And it's okay if you go off the original lines, especially where you have these little tiny lines. But do your best to try to stay on them because it does look nice and neat when you do stay on them. And like you can see here, I'm not perfectly staying on them, but I'm trying to consider where they are as best I can. And I could probably go a little more slowly, but and if I went more slowly, I might get on the lines a little more too. So, and you obviously you're going over the words too, you know, taking your time with that. And you really, maybe you even bring more line weight to them as you do that. Like if you go over the line and you get off of it a little bit, you can add a little bit of line weight to those letters so that you can see them again. So you can play with that. Now once you've done that for the whole piece, which obviously I haven't, then you're going to move to colored pencil. And it needs to be dry for colored pencil, obviously for Sharpie too. And I've pulled colored pencils that go with my color theme. So I've got, it's hard to see in this light, if I can turn this on. But I've got oranges, I've got yellows, I've got white, I've got blues. So here what I want to do is I want to think about separating this leg from the background. And I've already started to do this here. You can see that blue tissue paper was on the leg and the background. I'm using a yellow colored pencil to press really hard along this edge. I don't want to go over the Sharpie. And I'm using kind of an oval-like motion because that reduces the lines that you see between your colored pencil. So when you use an oval-like motion, you can press really hard along the edge. And then as you go towards the middle, you can start to ease up on your pressure until eventually you come right off. And that helps you blend that tissue paper in, blend the colored pencil into the tissue paper. I don't really need to do this outside of this one because I did the inside of it. But maybe as I come over here, I decide to do the outside instead and leave this leg part gray. So I'm going to take my blue, actually, let's see, I'll use a darker blue. I'm going to use my darker blue here in the background, and I'm going to press really hard along the outside of this leg. And again, using that oval-like motion, I'm bringing this in along the whole piece. And you can do some really beautiful things with this colored pencil, but really take your time with it because it's not easy to undo. And I'm easing up that pressure, and as I ease up that pressure, I'm using that oval-like motion so I don't see those weird little lines, but I'm able to blend this into the background, which looks really cool. You can also blend another color into it if you wanted. Like I could bring this white into here, and that looks really neat. But again, I'm using that oval-like motion so that as I come into that background, it really eases into the color in a way that makes sense. So taking my time with that there. And I'll show you a few more examples of this from the pieces that I've made in the past, and then I'll bring around the student examples too. Have fun with it.